Heartbreaking, really, that a young life has been lost in such a manner. And I just want to put the focus again on the suicide note that we'd put out in our report earlier, because this is heartbreaking. The little boy, before actually taking that extreme step, and just imagine what it takes, what kind of mental distress you have to be to take your own life. At 12 years old, has written in that suicide note, "I'm not a thief, I did not steal. Uncle wasn't around." He was referring to the shopkeeper. "As I waited, I spotted a kurkure packet lying on the road and picked it up. I love kurkure." And this itself tells you how young the boy is. You look at the kind of messaging. He's saying that "I loved these chips. I saw it on the road. I picked it up. I did not steal." It was over the manner in which he was branded a thief that it seems that this young boy just couldn't take the humiliation and so ended his life in his home. This is a larger issue that we're talking about. I want to bring in on this broadcast Mimamsa Singh Tanwar, clinical psychologist, who's the head of Fortis School of Mental Health Program as well. Thank you very much for your time. Mimamsa, what do you make of this incident? You know, am I right in saying that this generation perhaps is rather fragile egos, they're very fearful of judgment?
I think we need to first acknowledge and understand the fact, the dichotomy of insensitivity and highly insensitivity and highly sensitivity that we are looking at as a reflection of a society. I think what we need to understand, and if we focus on this particular situation and several other situations that happened, that we couldn't really look at the innocence of a child over here, that the need to sort of humiliate and abuse and the trauma to cause to this child was just so overpowering that everybody around just became a mob to sort of bring in their own emotions attached to it and just react as a mob to what was happening over there. And that's what we are turning into our society. Our emotions are just so heightened and high aroused at all times that we are not able to look at some of the underlying beneath the innocence, just the small act of a child, which was just so childlike that we needed to punish this young boy so much. I think what we need to certainly understand is that, yes, we are not living in simple times. A lot is being changed with the fact that so much is circulated around, even in terms of what we see, the visuals of negativity, emotional reactions, the increasing visibility of these things, the amount they are shared, and what it does to us. That aggression and violence is just becoming such a normalized aspect of our day-to-day life that we are almost becoming desensitized to this whole thing. And this should concern us. This should concern us because this is something that we see on a day-to-day basis. We see that happening on roads. We see that happening on our workplaces, sometimes even homes. This small corners, you see the amount of aggression and violence that we, get to hear through reportage, through videos, through so many other things. That as a society, yes, we are seeing somewhat this increased violence and aggression that is coming in more and more. For young people, a teenager is a young child. And for any teenager, for that matter, it is about the love and support that they can find from the adults around. So if the child is somewhere subjected to these kinds of episodes every now and then, where there is harsh punishment, I mean, look at the background that the mother comes from. She also succumbs to the pressure that is there, starts to try to dissolve the situation by not supporting the child, but almost becoming a part of it, not knowing what to do in a situation apart from that. And so this aspect just brought in a lot of sensitivity, and what it may have led the young boy to feel is what we need to understand.
You spoke of innocence. You spoke of innocence when you first began, when we began this conversation about the innocence of this little boy. But accompanying that innocence, which is what is worrying also, ma'am, that accompanying that innocence is someone here, a young boy, who's had the kind of maturity to take such a drastic step. You know, it's not simple to get your mind to actually process taking this step. Maybe he didn't understand the full meaning of what it meant to take one's life. But the fact that you're seeing these kind of things happen over an incident like this, where he's accused of falsely, stealing a chips packet, where there have been incidents of children taking their lives after getting scolded by their parents for not doing well in examinations. I tend to wonder here also whether as a society, something's changed in maybe the child's upbringing or maybe how parents are also dealing with these situations?
So I'm going to segregate into two aspects. Suicide as one thing, which, yes, statistically has been increasing in our society, and there are several factors to it. We need to understand over here, we have to also look at the personality aspect. We have to look at the factors, whether it is family, whether it is, the school, the stressors that are there, what has been building up for a person, young person, to take their own lives, and deaths happening due to suicide. It's not just a one-off episode that can happen here and there just out of an impulse, as what we are seeing over here. I think, yes, what you said, for a young child to understand the intensity of the action may not be there over here. What we have to understand that, yes, for a young child to be a bit impulsive is natural. Now, in that impulsivity, with whatever emotion that the child is experiencing, might have gone through a certain emotional experience and would have wanted to do something to sort of, calm themselves, soothe themselves, to get rid of what the child went through just right now, not knowing where to go, whom to talk to, and may have led to a certain kind of an episode. This is again just a speculation, but we're trying to understand the emotional experience of the child, right? But suicide in itself is a concern. And yes, what we need to really understand is that how can we prevent something which is absolutely preventable? We need to bring in a lot more life skills for young people. Resilience, yes, is something that is a skill that needs to be instilled in young people. How to regulate our emotions, how to look at stressors as an aspect of our life that we need to come out and deal with on a day-to-day basis. And a part of that dealing is also the support system. The strong support system that needs to come from family, that needs to come from schools, from teachers, even from peers, which requires a lot of sensitization, and which is why I continue to talk about mental health curriculum in schools. Even parents need to be made aware of it. Schools across India must talk about mental health related aspects and life skills. That has been happening, no doubt about the fact. Schools have been talking about life skills, but it needs to be more than the tick of the box. Our education,
no, I completely agree with you that there is a need to focus more on mental health for even pre-teens. We very often talk about adolescents needing it, but I think at this stage pre-teens also very important that they get that kind of access to ensuring that they have awareness about ensuring mental peace and also stability in that sense. But my final question to you also, ma'am, is about whether social media has played a big role in how children react to these kind of incidents when compared to how it used to be versus now.
It's difficult to make a direct correlation in that sense, but yes, if we talk about young people, they learn through observation. This is a known fact. It's an established fact. There are multiple researches on the aspect of kids learning through observation, and the immediate observation is where they pick things from. The most common being the family and then the schools. But yes, in today's time, because social media has also gotten into our lives so much intrusive space that it has taken, that yes, we can also look at that it could be contributing in several ways in terms of shaping their own identity and their own way of reactions and other things. But to say that there is a direct correlation, that's difficult to establish that to that extent.
Okay, all right. Mimamsa Singh Kanwar, thank you very much for your time. And I think for all of our viewers listening to this, parents particularly will be definitely taking note of the kind of message that you sent across about the need to also listen to children and ensure that you kind of read into what their mood is, the pattern of the moods that you're seeing essentially, and perhaps not being so harsh on children. In this particular incident, the child was publicly humiliated. He was assaulted publicly, slapped, clearly as seen in that CCTV footage, even by his own mother, who was seen scolding him, not believing him when he kept saying, "I didn't steal that packet of chips." And so that drove him towards taking that extreme step. And unfortunate, really heartbreaking, but like I said, perhaps another indicator of so many such incidents that we've been seeing across the country, across the world as well. And let's move on, talk about a disturbing incident that was reported from Haryana. A mass suicide, or so it seems, based on the preliminary investigation. 7 members of a family died allegedly by suicide in Panchkula in Haryana. Their bodies were found inside that particular vehicle, inside that car. And all of them, decided to consume poison, take their lives as they were seated in this car together. Why? Because they faced heavy debts because of financial losses.
An abandoned Hyundai car parked outside a house in Panchkula. Inside the car were 6 bodies. Another member of the family was declared brought dead to the hospital. All members of the same family. The case from Haryana, similar to Delhi's Burari mass suicide, has sent shockwaves across the country. The deceased have been identified as 42-year-old Praveen Mittal, his wife, Praveen's father Deshraj Mittal, and his mother, and their 3 children, including 2 teenage daughters and a son. Hailing from Barwala in Hisar, Praveen had shifted to Panchkula 12 years ago. He owned a scrap factory in Himachal Pradesh, which was seized by the bank due to unpaid loans.
The neighbors say that the family was humble and very courteous. Whenever they meet someone, they were very jovial and they used to meet people regularly. Neighbors also believe that they were under some crisis. The mother of Praveen Mittal was not well. Thereafter, it could have been the reason that they were under debt. However, no evidence has come to light from Dehradun that they were reeling under debt and that was the cause of their suicide.
Praveen was now driving a taxi to make both ends meet. His financial troubles are being cited as the reason behind the alleged mass suicide. The family had visited Panchkula on Monday to attend a religious sermon by Bageshwar Dham's Baba Dhirendra Shastri. Later, the entire family was found dead inside a car parked near a house in Sector 27.
One of the localite who saw them, that the car is being covered by the towels and the clothes. They even tried to open the windows, tried to communicate who's sitting in the car. So they found that 6 of them are vomiting. They seems to be unconscious, and they informed the police. It's been told that total 15 to 20 crores debt that was Praveen Mittal struggling with.
The police recovered a 2-page note from the vehicle which claimed that the family was bankrupt and heavily in debt.
हम लोगों ने फॉरेंसिक टीम को वहां बुलाया है। सारी इन्वेस्टिगेशन हम लोगों ने किया है। उसका सोशल मीडिया अकाउंट्स, उसके बैंकिंग, उसका सीसीटीवी फुटेज, उसकी कॉल रिकॉर्ड्स, ये सारी पुलिस खंगाल रही है। एक सुसाइड नोट के ऊपर ही हम लोग प्राइमा फेसी पे हम लोगों को ये लग रहा है। उसके बाद की आगे वाली कार्रवाई बतला दी जाएगी। तो हर प्रकार के अकाउंट्स को खंगाला जाएगा, कॉल रिकॉर्ड्स को खंगाला जाएगा, सीसीटीवी को, सोशल मीडिया को, हर प्रकार के खंगाला जाएगा।
The bodies were later shifted to a mortuary at the civil hospital for post-mortem.
किस लिए किया उन्होंने, इस टाइप क्यों उठाया, मुझे खुद समझ में नहीं आ रहा। पुलिस से पता चल रहा है कि मुझे सुसाइड नोट है मिला है उनकी गाड़ी में, बट पुलिस वालों ने अभी तक मुझे सुसाइड नोट नहीं दिया कि मैं उसको देख सकूं, ये पता चल सके कि उन्होंने ऐसा क्यों किया।
क्या हुआ पता ही नहीं है, तो आप आइडिया लगा रहे हैं ना, पहले बच्चों को पिलाया है, जो भी हुआ है पता नहीं क्या किया है, किसमें मिला के दिया है, कैसे दिया है, क्या दिया है, ये तो भगवान ही जानता है जी।
अच्छे थे बेचारे, हमारे तो कभी लड़ाई झगड़ा कुछ नहीं हुआ, हम अपने में मस्त थे, अपने बच्चों को पढ़ाना लिखाना, मेहनती थे वो, बहुत मेहनती थे।
Police are now trying to find out the extent of the family's financial troubles. They're also speaking to relatives and neighbors to piece together the events that led to this tragedy. With Ankit Kumar in Dehradun and Aman Bharadwaj in Panchkula, Bureau Report, India Today.
So a suicide note was found in which this family of 7 said we had no other option, no other way out. But the fact that you had 7 members of a family ensuring their deaths simultaneously dying by suicide, of course, throws back and gives you a grim reminder of what happened in 2018, the Burari deaths, one of the most bone-chilling cases that Delhi had seen, where in that case you had 11 members of a family in Delhi's Burari region, all dying by suicide, found hanging, blindfolded and with hands and feet tied. Now, while in this Panchkula case, the family in their suicide notice said very clearly that this was something that they had no option to do because of the extreme debt they were in. In the Burari case, there was a 3-year-long investigation, and it seemed to be some sort of ritual that led to the family taking their lives. We throw back to 2018, take you through what happened in the Burari case.
11 lives snuffed out almost at the same time. A complete family caught up in a twisted ritual and ended up dead. More proof that it was a mass suicide than a case of homicide. 30th June, 10 p.m. On that fateful night, the elder daughter-in-law, Savita, and her daughter, Neetu, are seen bringing stools, later used, to deadly effects. Police are claiming that these images are clinching evidence that there was a plan in place for the deadly ritual and no outsider was involved in it. Lalit Bhatia, whose love for penning down his diabolical agenda has given investigators a window into how the grisly plan unfolded. His latest death manual is the final volume in this deadly family saga. The last entry in the 11th diary is devoid of any emotion and to the point. Written on a day before the final act, it lays out step-by-step plan that culminated in a deadly wipeout of the Bhatia family. The instructions are given under a title, Road to God. Lalit claimed that his dead father wanted 9 people on the iron mesh. Widowed sister must be standing on a stool near a mandir. Order food at 10 p.m. Mother will feed roti. Kriya, final act to be performed at 1 a.m. Kriya to be performed during intervening night of Saturday or Sunday. Wet clothes must be stuffed in mouth and hands tied. Use cotton buds to close ears. The chilling last line, keep water in a cup. I will appear and save when color changes. Members of the Bhatia family showed unusual calmness hours before they took part in the ritual. Lalit's elder brother Bhavesh is seen opening his shop in the morning. The images defy what is about to follow at night. Later, we can also see Priyanka and her mother going for a morning walk. There is no hint of nervousness as the mother-daughter duo are seen walking briskly. In the afternoon, the brains behind the operation, Lalit is seen at a mobile shop. Finally, images that show how the plan was put in effect. Savita and her daughter, Neetu, calm and composed, carrying stools to be used for hanging. Death was imminent. Tragedy was knocking on their doors. Lalit's diary claimed that his father will save them. But their extreme step left no chances for the Bhatia family to survive the deadly ritual. Bureau Report, India Today.
And so many questions still loom over that incident that took place in 2018, the Burari deaths, which made headlines, of course, nationally through the year. That's all we have time for in this edition of News Track. Thanks very much for tuning in.